Hi, I'm Jack Smith, Content Manager with CFE Media, and I'd like to introduce this year's System Integrator of the Year Award winners. On my left, Jeff Buck, Vice President of Engineering with Automation Inc., Jeremy Gibbs, Director of Sales and Marketing, Matrix Engineering, and Steve Schnabely, I hope I said that right, Lead Director of Engineering with Molisco. Welcome and congratulations on the award. So let's talk a little bit about the award itself. Talk about what this award means to Automation Inc.
Thank you, Jack. So this is a very exciting award for us. This is our celebrating our 20th anniversary this year. So to win the Systems Integrator of the Year is very exciting, very validating for all of our team back in Laverne and Poway, California, and our remote engineers as well. This is just kind of validation for a lot of hard work in the past 20 years. So yeah, thank you for asking.
Matrix. Jeremy, this isn't anything new for you guys. What is it, 4 times?
Four times,
This
yes.
is the 4th time?
Yep.
The Matrix is won. So elaborate on the reaction of your team has had since the announcement, and is it like, okay, yeah, we've done this before, or
Yeah,
or
no,
is it
it's
still
not.
excited?
It's not. Yeah. So I'll build on what he said. You know, next year is our 40th anniversary. So 2020 is 40 years for Matrix Technologies, and for us it is a validation because you have to get better each year. I mean, that's the stakes here. So you can win once, and if you want to win again, you still have to separate yourself from the competition. So we put a lot of pride and effort into what we call our people, our process, and our performance. That's our tagline. So we put a lot of time and effort into the people and the process, and definitely that shows in the performance. And then to have it validated by this award is very exciting for the rest of the team. So they were pretty stoked. Yeah.
Okay, Steve.
So yeah, so it's definitely an honor. You know, we're humbled. You know, this is our 2nd award. You know, I've been with Molisco for 22 years, and we've actually celebrated our 25th anniversary this year. So it was kind of fitting to have that. And you know, we just keep striving, you know, every year to improve, you know, standards, procedures. You know, we're deeply involved with CSIA, and it really helps drive, you know, that level of performance. And you know, agree, it's just constant pushing, and everybody really enjoys it, and hopefully we'll be, you know, number 4 sometime too. That's our, you know, we don't sit back on our laurels. It's really, you know, it's really exciting, you know, for us.
So I'm going to ask a question, and all of you will have your turn. So what are the biggest challenges facing as system integrators today? Jeff, let's start with you.
Oh wow. I think from our perspective, one of the biggest challenges is recruitment. So I don't know if you guys think the same or not, but you know, we found that finding qualified, experienced controls engineers are very difficult.
Yeah.
And recruiting junior engineers straight out of school has its own challenges as well. And so one of the ways that we have dealt with that, we purposely created what we call NTH University. It's a program where we engage students that are within 12 months of graduation of college from some of the local universities there around Middle Tennessee. And we bring them in and let them learn about system integration. What we do, they actually spend time in our panel shop, learn how to build control panels, how to read prints, teach about PLC programming, how to write logic, and how to do debug on equipment. And we teach them about AutoCAD and generating drawings for machines. And then we give them a capstone project where they actually take those tools and put them into practice. And the ones that really excel at it, we hire them. And so that's been a great building block for us, allowed us to grow a lot. And so through that process too, we've expanded beyond just those initial classes. So our full-time hires can get the basics in a lot of different topics. So yeah, that's our biggest challenge and how we've come to address it. So.
Jeremy?
Yeah. So I think outside of recruitment and retention, the biggest thing for us is that the landscape has changed, right? So not only has technology changed, and you know, we've been around for a while, you have a lot of folks that know things that are the older technology, and it's staying current, staying new. But also the way the workforce has changed. A lot of the younger and earlier career engineers don't like to do the travel and startups and things like we all did when we came up through the ranks. I mean, that was just part and parcel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now there's pushback. They don't want to do those things. So it's finding creative ways to, deliver the same project but differently. You still have to have that same, commitment to the customer and the dates and the schedule, all those, but the workforce has just changed a lot. So it's learning how to be inclusive of all those things and understanding, but yet trying to get a job done.
Yeah, that's for, for definitely, the biggest thing we see is that work-life balance.
Yeah.
With the younger generation, keeping them challenged, keeping them engaged, finding the right people.
Mm-hmm.
We've done our fair share of recruiting out of college, and it's hard, trying to find, do you hire somebody that's been around for a while, that's kind of stuck in the old ways, or do you try to get that new energy? And we found really good success with that new energy. They come in, they're balls of fire, they bring in some different avenues of, how we attack projects, and they're really hunger for that knowledge. And then they work along with our older seasoned veterans to kind of find that balance. So, we've found pretty good success with, looking at, interns, and we've done internships and being pretty picky, but it is something that's worked out pretty decent for us.
Good. Jeremy, what are the steps that Matrix takes when it first begin to consult with customers? What are you looking for to find out of them? What should they be ready to tell you about the project?
Yeah, so the steps we take, so we try to begin with the end in mind, right? So that's where we like to go with our customers. We need to really find out what the business drivers are, what's behind the project. And I know that can be a little challenging sometimes, but that's what they have to be prepared to tell us. We need to understand why we're doing what we're doing, because that helps set the tone for the type of project it'll be, the type of solution that it'll be. Is it based on cost? Is it based on delivery? What is that? What is the situation? What's the landscape? So that's pretty much where we always start. Even if there's an RFP that's involved and they think they've laid everything out, we still have kind of our standard set that we go through, and I'm sure these guys are doing the same thing, because you really just can't, because of all the variables and things that are behind it. It's not just give me this anymore. There has to be so much else that goes into it. And a lot of our job is to be that advisor and make sure that they understand what may or may not be in that request and the things that are surrounding it.
Anything sound familiar, Jeff?
Yeah, I think Jeremy nailed it on the head. I agree with a lot of everything you said, actually. So I think keeping the big picture in mind, what's their what's success look like to them?
Mm-hmm.
Make sure we understand that. We like to talk about their automation experience. Are they familiar with automation? Is this their first project?
Right.
Do they have the staff to support it? What's that look like? We like to hear about the good, bad, and the ugly.
That's right.
See what their experience has been.
What lurks around the corner.
Exactly. But I think, just as you mentioned, we want to be an advisor for our customers, understand how we can help deliver a success for them, whatever that looks like. And so, we dub that as architects of automation. We want to be our architect of automation for our customers. So.
Anything you'd like to add, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, it's always, we again, following what you guys do, but, it's the long term. We look at the big picture. We don't just look at one project and a one and done and move on and, put our blinders on and just look at what this project is. We look at overall, we want to become part of that team. We want to, say, hey, we're doing this project, but if we do this, later on we could do this, and kind of keep that picture in mind and really listen to them, listen to what they want to accomplish.
Excellent. Jeff, how does your team establish and maintain long-term relationships?
That's a good question, because our experience has been that the system integration automation business is a very reputation-driven business. And so to get your foot in the door can sometimes be very challenging if it's a new customer. And so we feel like you have to set up an opportunity to kind of validate your expertise almost, right?
Right.
So we've come up with some different ways we kind of introduce ourselves to our customers, and that might be through coming in and doing machine optimization analysis to figure out how we can make their machines that they do have run better, right? Maybe we come in and do risk assessments or see if they have any safety issues that we can help maybe make a quick win for them. And maybe we can do
Low-hanging fruit.
the low-hanging fruit, exactly. And so we can do maybe a small project, introduce ourselves, and we think if we get the opportunity to step up to the plate and are successful and build that trust, then we can help go for the more deep strategic relationships after we develop that reputation.
Jeremy, how about you?
I agree with that. You know, again, the landscape's changed, so integration is not a quick hit anymore. It's a long-term selling cycle. No matter the size of the project, it's not. You don't make phone calls and get projects like you used to.
Right.
It's the way we phrase it is people buy from people. So
Right.
you have to spend the time to develop those relationships, develop the trust. That's what it's all about. So we put a lot of effort into that, and it's not. It's not something that comes naturally to engineers. So you got to put a lot of effort into it because they want to go and talk about the details. So that's where, you know, the account management team, salespeople, that there's a lot more effort that has to be put in there. But we like to take the time and get in deep and understand what the customer, what their end goals are, what they're trying to get to. We do the same thing too, where we're saying, well, hey, how about we start small, because no one's going to come in and let you do millions of dollars worth of work off the bat anymore. It doesn't happen. So
Right.
you've got to develop those relationships.
Definitely.
Steve?
Yeah, and, you know, I definitely, what you guys both said is true. You know, the biggest thing we try to do is push in and become one of their team members. You know, really develop that relationship, whether it be the low-hanging fruit. You know, let us show what we can do, and we get in there and just kind of become a natural extension to their arm, and kind of build that comfort factor. You know, it is, like you said, it's hard for a bunch of engineers to necessarily talk sometimes, but to show that build that personal relationship, show that we understand what their needs are, and you know, show the value of what we can offer. You know, it's a long cycle, but it's value added. I mean, we definitely see it.
Hey, Steve, you're not I'm still picking on you.
That's okay.
What are some of the effective ways your customers are using IIoT in their manufacturing environments?
Okay, so yeah, IIoT is one of those things. It's a term, just like IoT. People don't really understand what it is, and that's probably the first challenge, is to get them to understand it.
Right.
You know, we go in first and explain to get this information or whatever you're looking for. You got to have a good solid foundation first. So we focus on the network. We make sure everything's good and solid that way, and then we'll go in and assess what their end goals. Again, long-term type of picture. What are you trying to get? Are you trying to gather sensor data? Are you trying to gather vibration analysis? What are you trying to do? And then IoT basically is at the edge. You know, it's things that are at the edge. It's no longer server PLC and things like that. It's now things that are housed and they're running inside of a switch that are connecting to wireless devices or devices that are on the edge out there in the field, and getting that data into an agnostic form that can then go up into the cloud or whatever type of analysis is. And it's really the biggest challenge is getting them to understand what it really is, because it's one of those terms that's thrown around so much.
You got to get there before you can get beyond there.
Right, and really understand what are you asking for, what, you know, give them ideas of what you can do with that type of data versus, hey, I just need IoT devices.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to satisfy the buzzword.
Yeah, because the CEO says I want IoT. You know, it's one of those.
That's real cutting edge, right? Okay, Jeremy, what is the most overlooked part of a system integrator's value proposition for a manufacturer, and what don't most plant leaders know about a system integrator that they should know?
That is a great question. I guess the answer I'll give at this point in time, though, is from a systems integration standpoint, I think what gets overlooked a lot of times is the breadth of knowledge, right? We're deep and wide on a lot of things, but what that really means to a manufacturer, let's say they're a food manufacturer and they say, but you haven't done this, and they go to a very specific situation. What we can say is, yes, but we have done these 5 other things that are very, very similar, and here's some new technology that we can bring along the way that's going to get you faster, better, smarter, whatever the case may be. So, you know, that overlooked piece is all the other industry experience and knowledge that we can bring to the table. Instead of focusing in on one very specific thing, you know, that one manufacturer says my thing is special, right? And you got to treat them like they're special, but at the end of the day, for us, we've seen and done a lot of things, and allowing us to bring that to the table
Yeah, it
and
goes
give
back to that
suggestions as that
relationship,
advisor.
right?
Right, that's the most overlooked piece, because they say, I need 3 people that can do this. In reality, they really need just one good one that can do a lot of things.
Mhm. Care to add to that, Jeff?
I agree completely. I think, you know, from our perspective, it's deep strategic relationships are the greatest value that a systems integrator can bring to a customer. And, you know, if we can, my advice would be is to step back and think about that as opposed to the traditional arm's length transactional approach
Right.
of, here's my request for a quote, please submit your bid and I'll pick the lowest, please.
Right.
But if you can get involved early on, provide expertise in an advisory role early on, mitigate risk, and you know after the fact also, you got skin in the game. So you're trying to you're looking for the long term
Yeah.
relationship with the customer,
Yeah.
right? And they see that, you know, it can bring their product to market faster, in our opinion, by
Mhm.
having that approach. So I think deep strategic relationships.
Strategic is the key.
Exactly.
How about you, Steve?
You know, I think the biggest challenge is to, you know, integration right now seems to be more of a commodity.
Mhm.
It's trying to differentiate yourself and show that, you know, we have value add and there's certain things that the, you know, the average Joe integrator can't perform or doesn't have that skill set or the, you know, the knowledge, whether it be standardizing, you know, certifications, things like that. So it's just kind of constantly building upon that to show, hey, I'm somebody different. You know, I'm not just the average Joe integrator, and
Right.
the low bid isn't really the key that you need to go
Exactly.
with.
Jeff Buck, Vice President of Engineering and Automation N. Jeremy Gibbs, Director of Sales and Marketing and Matrix Technologies. And Steve Schnebley, Lead Director of Engineering at Melisco.